TradingView is the world's leading charting platform, and Pinescript 5 is the native coding language which lets us build out indicators and strategies from within TradingView. My name is James Bacchini, and in this video I'm going to show you a simple way to create your own indicators to display on charts and send out alert notifications. So the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is how to add a basic indicator. Here we have the Bitcoin US dollar tether chart from Binance. I'm going to go down to Pine Editor and open this up. I'm going to paste in 3 lines of code. The first line is a version, so we've got version 5 of Pinescript. There were some breaking changes between version 4 and version 5, which we'll get into later. Then there's the fact that it's an indicator. We create an indicator function here. We've given it a name, a simple moving average, and then we're saying overlay equals true. What this is going to do is it's going to overlay on top of the existing chart. Finally, on line 3, we're going to plot the simple moving average, or SMA, of the closing price with a 50 SMA period. So it's the 50-week SMA, basically, we're going to plot here. Let's go ahead and add that to a chart and see what it looks like. And there we go, we've got this blue line. Use the line as well. We're no longer on the 50-week, but the 50-hour moving average. Let's change it back to weekly. And let's start adding some more functionality to this code. I'm going to call this the bull market support band. If you watch any of Benjamin Cohen's videos, you'll notice that he talks about this a lot. And it's basically what he's talking about is the 50-week simple moving average. We're then going to add a custom input. So we're going to call the variable MA period input. It's an integer. And we're going to call it the moving average period. And the default value is 50 and the minimal value is 1. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to go into the settings for the moving average and change the period if you want to look at a different moving average without rewriting the code from scratch. Let's remove this for now. We're then going to calculate the simple moving average and assign this to a new variable called MA value. So it's the same code as we looked at earlier, the closing price and the moving average period, which is the user input. We're then going to plot these on the chart. We're going to do this slightly differently. We're going to use this is a hex code for the color. Similar to CSS, the only difference here is the transparency is set to 90. It's the opposite way to CSS, where 100 is fully transparent and 0 is full color. We're also going to change the plot style to area. And let's go ahead and plot that on a chart. And we can see we've got this full semi-transparent area, which Bitcoin keeps dipping into where there's long-term support. I want to make this a little bit more useful and add some labels and some alerts. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a weight global variable. I'm going to set this to 0. And what this is it's a variable that runs across the candles. So normally Pinescript will execute over and over again for each candle on the chart. What a global variable does, it allows us to track a variable throughout the whole stage of the chart. So from the first candle to the very last, we can track a variable and adjust it throughout the execution of the code. We're doing this in a very simple way. We're setting it to 0 at the very start on the first candle, and every candle after that, we're going to add 1. We're going to increment the value by 1. I'm then going to add an if statement, and what this is looking at is if the low for the current candle is less than the moving average value, which is set up here, and also a second condition that if the wait period that we just set is greater than 12. And then if that is true, we're going to reset the wait period to 0. So what this is going to do on the weekly chart is it means we're only going to get 1 indicator per quarter. We're not going to get alerts going off or adding new labels on every single time or every single week that Bitcoin is below the support band. We just want to know the very first time it happens when Bitcoin dips below the 50-week SMA, and then we don't want to be notified again for at least 12 weeks. If these conditions are true, the weight value is set to 0 and it starts again. Notice we're using 4 spaces for the indented code here, and this code will only execute if both of these conditions are met. If those conditions are met, we're going to add a new label. The label is going to be placed on the x-axis at the bar in question, and the y-axis at the low points is going to go below the bar. We can use any text we want. I'm using the very mature emoji for a poop symbol, and then the size is set to tiny. I'm also going to add an alert, which is actually the option to use an alert. It doesn't set it automatically. There's no way in Pinescript to create an alert automatically, but it gives you the option to go into the alerts tab and add one, which we'll go through in a second. So the alert is simply the text buy the dip with the inserted ticker information, so that'll be BTC USDT. And then we've got the alert frequency once per bar. What that means is that it will execute in real time, but only once per week. So let's get rid of the old code and add our new and improved version. You can see our labels are set here. We could change the color of those labels if we wanted to. And we've also got the option to add an alert. So if we go into the alerts tab now, and we create a new alert, if we change the condition down to bull market support band, which is the name of our indicator, we want to notify an app, that's the mobile app, so I get a notification on my phone, and also show a pop-up on the desktop. That's all fine. Don't want an email or a webhook. Let's create that indicator. Let's create that alert. And here we have it. So now whenever Bitcoin dips below this 50-week SMA, I'll get a notification on my phone. We can see the price is currently almost exactly on the 50-week SMA here, but we're not going to get an alert because we set up this wait period. So the price actually dipped below it on the 4th of December when we had the liquidation cascades, and we won't get another notification now for up to 12 weeks. This is just one example of how you can use indicators in Pinescript to create your own alerts and to better assess the market data that you've been provided. Notice that we're using version 5 here, which was recently released this year. If you're building indicators yourself and you're using other people's code to kind of get ideas, you might come across some Pinescript code which was built for version 4. If you want to convert this across and update it, we can simply click this little tab here, go to convert to v5. And it won't actually work because this code is already built for v5, but that's how you can update existing code that you find for version 4. If you want to get ideas for indicators and strategies, I think the best idea is to go into indicators and strategies and look at the number of likes that these indicators have. We can select these by editor's pick, the most likes or the trending indicators. And we can go into a lot of these and there'll be open source code. For example, if we add the MACD custom, and then we go into this source file, we don't want to save these changes. So this code was created by Chris Moody in 2014. If we scroll through it, we can see how he's built his code, and we can get ideas for that, but for both the kind of the layout of the code and kind of good concepts to use within Pinescript, and also ideas for different strategies that we could be used to better improve our understanding of the markets and our trading. Bear in mind that there isn't a single holy grail of indicators that's going to make you rich overnight, and searching for one will just make you frustrated, because all of these indicators are just built on the price and volume data that's available to TradingView. But things like the Bitcoin bull market support band are spoken about so much that they almost have a self-fulfilling prophecy. And by creating our own indicators and plotting them on charts like this, it can increase our awareness of what other traders might be thinking about in the markets. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on how to build a Pinescript indicator for TradingView. Subscribe to the channel for updates, hit the like button for YouTube algorithm, and there's more examples and code snippets in the blog post linked in the description. Thank you for watching.